couple of tidbits from LSU football ops today. One bit of good news, one bit of bad news. I'll start with the bad news, which is that Aaron Moffitt, reserve tight end Aaron Moffitt, has torn his ACL. First reported by The Advocate. Aaron did go to Twitter last evening. He didn't explicitly share the news of a torn ACL, but he did allude to, obviously, a struggle and adversity. His tweet last evening read, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So here's hoping for Aaron that he's able to come back from this and continue his career. Of course, Aaron signed with LSU as a defensive end out of Catholic High and tore his ACL in 2018, the week leading up to the Georgia game. So he missed the rest of the season, came back last year in 2019, and had a consistent special teams role for LSU last year on the championship team, and now has torn his ACL a second time. So, man, look, Aaron's one of those guys who I've known for a long time. All right, Aaron went to Catholic. I covered him, called at the games when he was at Catholic, and I've gotten to know the Moffitts well because his older brother Clay, who of course ended up pitching at LSU, was a great athlete as well and battled his own adversity. Clay tore his ACL, I believe, 3 times, had shoulder and elbow injuries also. But they're a great family, the Moffitts are. With Coach Moffitt and with Jill, they're awesome people that have raised 3 great sons, and you want good people to have success in life. I want all people to have success in life, and I hate when people face adversity, but Aaron's going to have to go through a second ACL injury here, and that just sucks. There's no other way to say it. But they're a great family. Aaron's a great young guy. He's a great program guy who's found his role on this team and in this program, and you pull for him, and I hope he comes back healthy and finishes out his career strong at LSU. So Aaron Moffitt tears his ACL. He'll be done for the year. As for the tight end position, LSU's good, as we've talked about there. They've recruited Eric Gilbert, the number 1 player in the country, number 1 tight end, the highest rated tight end in the history of the 247 rankings. And behind that, you've got Cole Taylor as well, big 6'7" target. Nick Storrs has come over from the football program or from the baseball program. And then, man, even beyond that, they're really excited. You heard Ed Ogeron mention it yesterday. They're really excited about Torrey Carter because Torrey Carter still gives them that big physical presence as a blocker at the tight end spot. So they're good at tight end, but this is still really disappointing for a guy like Aaron, who's such a good guy. It's just gonna miss the season. On the positive side of things, LSU has added a specialist. Ezekeal Mata out of California is walking on as a kicker. In high school, he kicked off, handled field goals, and punted at Mission Hills High in California. He's recruited by Greg Mcmahon. Now, the tie is interesting. So, Mata works out with former Saints kicker John Carney. Well, Carney, of course, kicked under McMahon during his time with the Saints. So that's the very natural tie there. It's worth noting that Mata had scholarship opportunities, but he passed on scholarship opportunities to be able to walk on at LSU. Certainly that speaks to the brand and the pull and the allure of LSU. That's something Avery Atkins did as well. He walked on to LSU, won the place kicking duties, and has been a stellar weapon for LSU. Specifically with Mata, it's unlikely that he has a role on the team this year. And next year is complicated now as well because, of course, the NCAA has granted everyone a blanket waiver for an additional year of eligibility. So Zach Von Rosenberg, while he's a senior in 2020, essentially he's been granted another year in 2021. So we thought the punting job might be open next year. It's not, or likely won't be if Von Rosenberg comes back. LSU also has Peyton Todd committed, who's the number 1 punter in the country out of West Monroe. So it looks like LSU's good there. Cade York was a freshman a year ago. He's back for his sophomore year. So theoretically, you'd think York has that job locked down for the next 3 years. And as for Avery Atkins, he'll handle the kickoff duties for LSU. And maybe whenever Atkins' time at LSU is done, Mata could take over there. But if nothing else, as we learned a couple of years ago in Ed's first year in Baton Rouge in 2017, you can never have too many options at the specialist roles because that was a major issue. And listen, one of the unsung heroes of the LSU football program during the Ed Orgeron era has been Greg McMahon. I want to go in the Wayback Machine with me if you would. Ed's last game as interim head coach was against Texas A&M. Remember the Thanksgiving game, Texas A&M? LSU wins that game. I think they scored 50 in that game. They win the game. That was Thursday. That was the Thanksgiving night game, wasn't it? It was Thanksgiving night because that's when everything was transpiring with the possibility of Tom Herman, etc. Of course, we know how it all transpires. Ed Orgeron gets the job on Saturday. Do you remember what Ed Orgeron did on Sunday? So they play A&M Thursday, the Tom Herman stuff Friday. Saturday, Ed's announces the head coach. Do you remember what happened on Sunday? Ed fired Bradley Dale Pivotal. It was literally the first thing he did was fire the special teams coordinator. Like, literally the first thing he did when he became the permanent head coach was fire Pivotal. Which is why, in part, it was stunning to me that in 2017 he didn't have a special teams coordinator, but McMahon came on as an analyst, and they divvied up the special teams roles among the staff, and it was a disaster. But as soon as they introduced a 10th assistant, they brought McMahon on full time, and that has paid huge dividends. Remember, it was Greg McMahon who found Cole Tracy at Assumption. Cole Tracy won LSU at least 2 games in 2018. That 9-3 could have, without Cole Tracy, very easily been 7-5, and Ed Orgeron wouldn't have survived that year. So Greg McMahon, to that extent, deserves a massive amount of credit. Greg McMahon found Cade York. Greg McMahon, Avery Atkins, now Mata because of his relationship with John Carney. I mean, we don't talk about the special teams coordinator often, but McMahon deserves a ton of credit. I mean, the personnel he's brought in to stabilize that. The thing you'd say about special teams, you hope you never have to talk about it. Like, you hope that you kick the ball through the end zone every time for a touchback. You make every field goal in PAT. You have a solid punter. You never botch a snap. And LSU has just been really good and really steady in those roles under McMahon. So one of the unsung guys in this LSU program is special teams coordinator Greg McMahon, and he nabbed another one here, Ezekeal Mata, a guy that Craig Saylor, who's like the kicking guru, tabbed as a 5-star. He doesn't have a star rating with 247, but in Craig Saylor's ratings, he has him as a 5-star. And LSU's getting him to walk on. Versatile kicker. Punter, place kicker, kickoff duties. We'll see what his role becomes at LSU, but a really good get there for Greg McMahon and for the Tigers. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.